Yes, students. Now we come to the third part of this chapter. Okay, in the two parts that we have studied till now, we have seen that what was the lifestyle of the tribals. Okay, by lifestyle I mean, okay, it is meant that what kind of society they lived in, okay, what were their occupations, what was the economy. Okay, this we have studied as under the heading the tribal way of life. Okay, then in the second part we have seen how the rule of the British affected the tribals. Are you understanding? You know, students, that the tribals, they had their own system of government, of administering justice, okay, socio-political institutions, okay, customs, lifestyle, right? And after the advent of the British, there was a dynamic change in the situation. Okay, we have seen that. Okay, the second part, it talks about the dynamic change in the situation. What have we studied in the second part? First part, I told you just now, we talked about the lifestyle of the Adivasis. Okay, like the occupations, you know now. Occupations, for example, the primary occupation of the Adivasis was to collect the forest produce, to hunt the animals, right? So how the lifestyle of the Adivasis was, it was affected. Okay, we have studied there about under different headings, like the tribal chiefs, they lost their administrative powers, isn't it? They had the powers to frame laws related to the land, related to the forest, related to the tribes. They had economic power. Okay, but with the advent of the British, after the advent of the British, what happened? They lost their administrative powers significantly. Much of the administrative powers they had lost. Okay, and they were expected to pay tribute. We have seen the colonial laws were imposed upon them. Okay, then next, under next heading, we have seen that the company, it took over large tracts of the tribal lands. Okay, it took away large tracts of land, and the landless tribals, what they now ultimately what happened, they worked as wage laborers. Okay, and they were forced to cultivate, they were coerced. Okay, coerced, I told you, it is like persuade to do something, especially against their will. Okay, to cultivate the cash crops, right? And then the landless, those landless tribals, they were unhappy. So we are seeing the tribal chiefs were unhappy, the landless tribals became unhappy. We have studied about the forest laws also, students, isn't it? Like the forest was declared as a state property. Okay, and the tribals, they were prohibited from practicing shifting cultivation. Okay, and there were other restrictions also, that what the tribals could not do, they could not now collect the forest produce, they could not now cut down the trees, they could not now hunt the animals. Okay, and in some areas they were not even allowed to stay in the forest. Okay, so since the tribals, okay, they considered the forest and its produce as their belonging, they vehemently protested against the British laws. Are you understanding? So further we have seen regarding the role of the money lenders. So the role of the traders. Okay, and you know that the traders, they charged very high prices, okay, for the commodities, goods they sold to the Adivasis. The Adivasis, they were self-sufficient, okay, but For certain products, they depend on the external sources, and they purchase from the middlemen, the traders, okay, the merchants, and they charge very high prices. And the money they took as loan from the money lenders, the money lenders, we have seen that they charged very high rates of interest. Okay, so and earlier we have seen that when they were not in the condition, they were not able to pay the loans. Okay, so the money lenders, they took away the cart, the cattle, and even the land. Okay, so the tribals, they reacted violently. We have seen that the first phase of rebellion, rebellion, what is the meaning of rebellion? Rebellion is, it is an armed resistance against an established government or ruler. Okay, so the first phase of rebellion before the revolt of 1857, okay, it was led by the tribal chiefs. So now we are going to study about the revolts. Okay, we are going to study about how the tribals responded, okay, towards the changes, right? So first we'll see which were the notable revolts. I was telling you that, I'll tell you that due to the oppressive laws, okay, and practices, okay, so and the exploitation by whom? By the exploitation is like using unjustly making use of others, or making benefit from others unfairly. Okay, so due to the oppressive laws, okay, and practices, and the exploitation by the money lenders, okay, the exploitation by the traders, okay, and the merchants. Okay, so because of the exploitation by the traders and the middlemen, I want to say here. So what did the tribals do? Many tribals, okay, they revolted. They revolted at in different parts. We want to study about where the tribals revolted. Okay, in the 19th century. When did this revolt? When did the tribals revolt? In the 19th century. So once again, I tell you here what is there. What I want to say, that because of the policies, the oppressive laws, okay, the oppressive laws and practices, and the exploitation by whom? The exploitation by the traders, okay, and the middlemen. Okay, this is what I want to say. So because of the exploitation by the traders and the middlemen, okay, the tribals in many parts, they revolted, okay, in the 19th century. So the most notable revolts, now we'll see the important revolts, or the most notable revolts. Which were those? There are such 8 revolts that we want to study, students, now. Which are the most notable revolts? The first among the tribal revolts, the first is the Munda rebellion. Okay, which is that? The Munda rebellion of the Mundas in Bihar. Okay, this is the first rebellion, which is included in the notable rebellions. Okay, the Munda rebellion. Okay, then the next rebellion is of the Santhals. Okay, the Santhals of Bihar and Bengal. Okay, then the Gonds of Odisha. Okay, then the Bhils of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Okay, the Khasis of Meghalaya. And besides, there was the Kol rebellion of 1831-32, the Bastar rebellion of 1910, and the Warli revolt of 1940. So the Santhal rebellion, I'll tell you about Santhal rebellion now. The Santhal rebellion of 1855. Okay, it was directed, okay, against all outsiders. Okay, the tribals, they considered certain groups of people as outsiders. Okay, so it included British officials, included the police. Okay, it included the zamindars, it included the money lenders. Okay, and it was directed against these groups of people. Okay, and the Santhal revolt, okay, it is called as Santhal Hul, Santhal Hul, or Santhal Liberation Movement. It is also called as Santhal Hul or Santhal Liberation Movement. Okay, so in 1855, okay, the Santhal rebellion. So see students, here we have studied about the 8 different rebellions, okay, in different parts of India, right? Should we revise once again which were the different rebellions? I have told you just now. See, we have the Munda rebellion in Bihar, okay, one. Then we have the revolt, the rebellion of the Gonds in Odisha. The Bhils revolted in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. The Khasis in Meghalaya, okay, and the Santhals were in Bengal and Bihar. And then there was the Kol rebellion, the Bastar rebellion, and the Warli revolt, right? So now we are going to study about one rebellion which is called as the Munda rebellion. What is the name of the rebellion? The Munda rebellion. Okay, so the Munda rebellion was one of the most powerful tribal revolts in the late 19th century. I repeat, the Munda rebellion, it was one of the most powerful tribal revolts, okay, of the late 19th century, right? So we are studying here about the tribal leader, okay, who played an important part, okay, and we are going to study the life of that tribal leader. We are going to study about his thoughts, about how he wanted to bring about a social reform, okay, how he wanted to, if I say political change, social change, okay, and what he expected from the people, how he saw a vision, how he saw a dream of a golden age, okay, how he wanted to establish a golden age, okay. So the name of that person is Birsa Munda. What is the name of the person? Birsa Munda. Okay, so where was this person born? Birsa Munda. Okay, he was born in present Jharkhand state. Where was he born? In the present Jharkhand state. Okay, he was born in Ulihatu. Sorry, it is Ulihatu. He was born in Ulihatu, Ranchi. Okay, so what he wanted now? Okay, see, Birsa Munda at a very early stage, okay, at very early age. See students, I read about him, I came to know like he died when he was just 25 to 26 years old, okay, and somewhere 1900, okay, and born in 1874 or 75, this is just what I read, and what we are studying his life now. So at early age, he became aware about, he was sensitive about, he became aware about what? He became aware about the exploitation of his people by the Dikus. Dikus means outsiders. Now you know well that which people were regarded as Dikus. The British officials, the police, then the traders, okay, the money lenders, the zamindars, right? So Birsa Munda at early age, he felt that, okay, he became sensitive or became aware towards the exploitation of his people by the outsiders, and he was also against the system of Bait Begari. You know now what is Bait Begari? It is labor without giving any payment. Okay, so he was against the system of Bait Begari. What he wanted, students? He wanted that he wanted to bring about a social reform, social change, a good change, sudharna. Okay, so what he wanted, he wanted his society. Okay, he wanted to reform the tribal society. Okay, and to recover its glorious past. Okay, he wanted that the tribal society, is past which was glorious, it should be recovered. Okay, I'll tell you here like what was in his mind when he talked about the glorious past. Glorious past means when the tribals, they cultivated their own land. Okay, and away, they lived a good life away from the oppress of this exploitation by the outsiders. So he was talking about such golden age, that they were living away from the oppression of Dikus. Okay, so and he wanted a social reform also. You'll come to know what he meant by social reform. See, he urged his members of his tribe that they should give up what can be said as evils, okay, evil habits. So he urged the members of his tribe that they should give up drinking liquor. You all know what is the meaning of liquor. Liquor is an alcoholic drink, sharab. Okay, so he urged that they should give up drinking sharab. Okay, and animal sacrifices, जानवरों को बलि देना. So he wanted that they should give up practicing animal sacrifices, give up drinking liquor, and other evils like sorcery, okay, or witchcraft and sorcery. These are like black magic, काला जादू. It is called as black magic. मतलब मैजिक का इस्तेमाल इविल पर्पसेस के लिए करना, टू यूज मैजिक फॉर इविल पर्पसेस. मतलब इसमें से बिलीव किया जाता है दैट लेट मी आई नॉट टेल यू, it is just, I don't believe in it, but still if you go and see the meaning in dictionary, they say that they are invoking evil spirits, और कुछ evil purposes के लिए ऐसे किया जाता है. Anyway, what is important here that Birsa Munda wanted that people should give up practicing such give up practices like drinking liquor or animal sacrifices, or other evils also they should give up like sorcery, witchcraft. Okay, and he wanted them that they should live an honest life. And this is like what kind of social reform, okay, he wanted to bring about in the tribals. Okay, and he wanted to restore the glorious past. Okay, and he talked about a golden age. एक ऐसे सुवर्ण युग की वो बात करते थे. He talked about a golden age. When? वो कैसा golden age? So what type of golden age? When the tribals, they cultivated their own okay, they cultivate their own land, okay, and away from, they lived a life away from the oppression by the Dikus, that is the outsiders. Means they will not suffer because of the oppression of the outsiders. I told you, now you know that who are these outsiders. So he dreamt of such age, such golden age. So and he also wanted that the tribals, they should free themselves, okay, from the clutches. What are clutches? Clutches is like control, okay. Especially what kind of control? Means control in an unfair way, okay. So he wanted that they should free themselves from such kind of control, so the clutches of the landlords and zamindars. Okay, he was also against the Christian missionaries. Which Christian missionaries? He was also against the Christian missionaries who criticized their tribal lifestyle. Okay, and then the Munda rebellion, the main rebellion, okay, it broke out where in South Ranchi. Okay, you know Ranchi, okay, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is from Ranchi, isn't it? Anyway, so that is the capital of Jharkhand. Okay, So there the main Munda rebellion, it broke out there, okay, and it was called as Ul Gulan. What it was called as? Ul Gulan. Ul Gulan means the great tumult. It means the great tumult. Tumult is, it is a turbulent uprising. Okay. So what was the aim? It aimed, the rebellion, the Munda rebellion, it aimed at driving out the British, okay, and establishing the Birsa Raj. Okay, Birsa Raj, like already I have told you about Birsa Munda, what was his vision, what was his dream, or what kind of golden age he talked about, okay, and they want to establish such Birsa Raj. Understood? So what happened? The Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act, okay, it was passed in the year 1908. What happened? The Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act was passed in the year 1908, and according to this act, the Bet Begari was considered as a crime and was banned. Earlier I told you, like Birsa Munda, he died in the year 1900, okay, and I read that this ये जो मुंडा रेबेलियन है ये 1890s में हुआ था, हाँ, और फिर बिरसा मुंडा की डेथ 1900 में हो गई, और आई रेड कि ही डाइड इन जेल. इट वाज सेड दैट ही हैड अ डिसीज, ओके, कॉलेरा आई थिंक, एज फार एज आई रिमेंबर, और फिर उनकी डेथ हो गई इन जेल. ठीक है, उसके 8 साल के बाद, ओके, so as it is said there, as I read, I am telling on that basis. So in 1908, what happened? The Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act was passed. Do you know what is Chota Nagpur? Very Chota Nagpur. Okay, it is not like Maharashtra में एक नागपुर है और उससे वो छोटा है. So Chota Nagpur actually, okay, it is Chota Nagpur Plateau. I'll tell you, Chota Nagpur Plateau, it covers much of Jharkhand, okay, and the adjacent parts of Chhattisgarh, okay, and West Bengal and Odisha, okay. So this Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act was passed. कब? In 1908. and वो उस एक्ट ने ये डिक्लेयर किया कि वो मीन्स अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस एक्ट व्हाट वाज कंसिडर्ड अ क्राइम, बेट बेगारी को गुनाह समझा गया, एंड इट वाज बैंड. Okay, a ban was put on the system of Bet Begari. Okay, so there were many smaller movements, okay, which took inspiration from the Munda rebellion. Okay, so many smaller movements, they were inspired by the Munda rebellion, but they were suppressed by the British.